All right, today we're going to tackle a huge idea, a philosophy that wants to completely flip our understanding of, well, pretty much everything. Okay, so to get our heads around this, let's start with a really simple question. Think about a hammer, right? What is its reality when it's just sitting there in a dark toolbox? No one's looking at it, no one's using it. What's it actually doing? For centuries, philosophy had a pretty simple answer for this. The hammer's reality? It doesn't really matter. Not until a person comes along and picks it up. Objects like that hammer were basically seen as passive tools. They only existed in relation to us for our purposes. They were just props on the human stage.
But what if that's not just wrong? What if it's actually really arrogant? There's a new way of thinking that looks at that old answer and says, hold on a second, who are we to think we're the center of the entire universe?
And that's really the heart of what we're talking about today. This new idea suggests that objects have a secret life, all on their own. So, this philosophy is called object-oriented ontology, or a lot easier, OOO, and its main idea is pretty radical. It basically says, forget the idea that humans are special. It rejects the notion that our existence is somehow more real or more important than the existence of, say, a rock or your laptop or an entire planet. In the world of OOO, everything is on a level playing field. So how does it do this? Well, OOO introduces this really key concept called withdrawal. Think of it like this. Every single object has its own deep, private reality that we can never, ever fully get to. It's always holding something back, always withdrawn from our complete understanding. And get this, it's not just withdrawn from us, but from other objects too.
Yeah, and this isn't just about us versus the world. The founder of OOO, Graham Harman, puts it this way. He says that even rocks never encounter one another in their deepest being. So when one rock smashes into another, they're not really touching the essence of each other. They're just interacting with a kind of surface-level caricature. The true, deep reality of each rock, it stays withdrawn, hidden away.
Okay, so if every object has this secret withdrawn life, where have we been going wrong all this time? Well, according to OOO, we tend to make two big mistakes. Yeah, OO says we fall into two main traps. We either try to reduce an object down to what it's made of, or we reduce it up to what it does for us. Let's talk about that first mistake. It's called undermining. This is when you say an object is nothing but its smaller pieces, like saying our hammer is just a bunch of wood and metal atoms. When you do that, you totally lose the hammerness of the thing, right? The hammer as a whole just dissolves. And the second mistake is the total opposite. It's called overmining. This is when you reduce an object to what it does for us, or how we see it. So, saying a hammer is only good for driving nails. This completely ignores the fact that the hammer still exists, it's still a hammer, even when it's just sitting in that toolbox doing nothing.
So here's the real kicker. OO insists that the actual hammer, the real object, is always something more. It's more than just its atoms, and it's more than its job of hitting nails. It has its own independent reality that you just can't boil down in either of those ways.
Now, I know this might all sound a little out there, but it has some absolutely huge implications, especially when we start applying it to objects that are so big we can barely even wrap our minds around them.
Yeah, so the philosopher Timothy Morton, who works with these ideas, came up with a really cool term for this, hyperobject. What's a hyperobject? It's an object that's so massively spread out across time and space that it's impossible for us to experience the whole thing at once. So what are we talking about? Well, think about something like global warming. That's a hyperobject. You can feel a heat wave, sure, but you can't feel or see the entire phenomenon of global warming itself. Or how about all the styrofoam on Earth? You can pick up a single cup, but you can't possibly perceive the whole planet-wide mess at once. And then there's radioactive plutonium, an object that will literally exist for longer than human civilization. That's a hyperobject. And this circles right back to that idea of withdrawal, doesn't it? Hyperobjects are what you might call non-local. You can see their footprints, experience their effects like that heat wave or a plastic bottle on the beach, but you can never, ever see the entire object itself. By its very nature, most of it is always withdrawn from us. All right, now, as you can imagine, with any idea this big and this radical, OOO has definitely got its critics. So let's take a quick look at the other side of the argument.
So on the one hand, the big promise of OOO is creating a more democratic universe, right? One where we have more respect for all the non-human things out there. But, and this is a big but,
The main criticism is that this is still a completely human-centered idea. I mean, at the end of the day, we're the ones sitting around defining what an object is and coming up with theories about its secret life. So the big question is, can we really ever escape our own human point of view?
And that leaves us with one final kind of mind-bending question to chew on. Just look at your phone for a second. Is it an object that exists just for you, defined by the apps you use and what you do with it? Or flip it around. From the phone's perspective, are you just an object for it? A convenient source of energy, a constant stream of data, and a way to interact with the world? Kind of makes you think, doesn't it?